The beeping was the first thing I heard. Steady, rhythmic, mechanical. Then came the pain. A deep throbbing ache that seemed to radiate from everywhere and nowhere at once. My eyelids felt like they were glued shut, and when I finally forced them open, the harsh fluorescent lights made me wince. "She's awake, nurse, she's awake." My mother's voice cut through the fog in my brain. I tried to turn my head toward the sound, but even that small movement sent waves of nausea crashing through me. "My name is Melissa Porter. I'm 26 years old, and 3 days ago, I almost died." "Honey, can you hear me?" "Melissa, sweetheart, we were so worried." Mom's face appeared above me, her eyes red and puffy from crying. Dad stood behind her, his hand on her shoulder, looking like he'd aged 10 years since I last saw him. "What happened?" My voice came out as a croak, my throat raw and dry. The doctor stepped forward, a middle-aged woman with kind eyes and a clipboard. "Miss Porter, you were brought in 3 days ago in diabetic ketoacidosis. Your blood sugar levels were dangerously high. You were in a coma. We almost lost you." I blinked, trying to process her words. That didn't make sense. I'd been managing my type 1 diabetes since I was diagnosed at 14. I was meticulous about my insulin, my diet, my blood sugar monitoring. I hadn't had a serious incident in over a decade. "That's impossible," I whispered. "I took my insulin. I always take my insulin." The doctor exchanged a look with my parents that I couldn't quite read. "We'll discuss everything once you've rested a bit more. Right now, your body needs to recover." But I didn't want to rest. Something was wrong. I could feel it in the way my mother wouldn't meet my eyes, in the way my father kept glancing toward the door like he wished he could escape. "Where's Vanessa?" I asked suddenly. The silence that followed my question was deafening. Vanessa, my younger sister by 3 years. The golden child, the one who could do no wrong in our parents' eyes. The one who had been staying with me for the past 2 months while she figured out her life after her 3rd failed engagement. She's at home," Mom said carefully. "She feels terrible about what happened." "What do you mean? What happened? What does Vanessa have to do with this?" Another long pause. Dad finally spoke, his voice tired and strained. "There was an incident. With your medication." The pieces started clicking together in my mind, but they formed a picture I didn't want to see. "What kind of incident?" Mom reached for my hand, her grip too tight, too desperate. "Sweetheart, it was just a prank. A stupid, thoughtless prank. Vanessa didn't mean for this to happen. She switched your insulin with water as a joke. She didn't realize, what?" I tried to sit up, but the room spun violently and I fell back against the pillows. My heart monitor started beeping frantically as my pulse skyrocketed. "She thought it would be funny," Dad said weakly. "She was going to switch it back before you actually needed it, but she forgot, and then she forgot." I could barely get the words out. "She forgot that I need insulin to live." The doctor stepped in, her hand raised calmly. "Miss Porter, you need to stay calm. Your body has been through severe trauma. Getting upset right now could what? Kill me, because my sister already tried to do that." "It wasn't like that." Mom's voice cracked. "Vanessa loves you. She made a mistake. A horrible, terrible mistake, but it wasn't intentional. She's been crying for 3 days straight. She can barely function. You have to forgive her, Melissa. She's your sister." I stared at my mother, seeing her clearly for the first time in years. This was always how it was. Vanessa could burn down a building, and somehow it would be my job to forgive her, to understand her, to make her feel better about what she'd done. When Vanessa crashed my car at 19, I was told to forgive her because she was young. When Vanessa stole money from my savings account at 21, I was told to forgive her because she was struggling. When Vanessa slept with my college boyfriend, I was told to forgive her because clearly the relationship wasn't meant to be anyway. And now she had literally almost killed me, and the first words out of my mother's mouth were about forgiveness. "I want to see my medical records," I said quietly. The doctor hesitated. "Of course that's your right, but now, please." She nodded and left the room. My parents exchanged worried glances. "Honey, what good will that do?" Dad asked. "What's done is done. The important thing now is that you recover and we move forward as a family." I didn't respond. I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, counting the tiles while my mind raced. Something wasn't adding up. I was meticulous about my insulin. I always checked the vial before injecting. I would have noticed if it was just water. The consistency, the color, the way it flowed through the syringe. After 12 years, I knew my medication intimately. Unless this wasn't the first time. The doctor returned with a tablet. pulling up my records. I have to warn you, some of this might be difficult to process. Just show me. She handed me the tablet, and I scrolled through the results. Blood work, toxicology screens, a detailed timeline of my decline, and then I saw it. In addition to the diabetic ketoacidosis, the test showed elevated levels of a compound that had no business being in my system. The doctor had highlighted it with a note. Anomaly Mellish recommend further investigation. What is this? I pointed to the screen. The doctor's expression grew serious. That's what I wanted to discuss with you privately. We found trace amounts of diphenhydramine in your blood. That's the active ingredient in common antihistamines like Benadryl. The levels suggest repeated exposure over an extended period. I don't take Benadryl, I said slowly. I'm allergic to it. It's in my medical records. It interacts badly with one of my other medications. I know, the doctor said, her voice soft but grave. That's why I flagged it. Miss Porter, the combination of tampered insulin and regular doses of a medication you're allergic to. This wasn't a single prank. Someone has been systematically compromising your health for what appears to be at least 6 to 8 weeks. The timeline hit me like a punch to the gut. 6 to 8 weeks. Vanessa moved in with me exactly 2 months ago. I looked at my parents, who had gone very, very pale. Get out, I said. Melissa, please. Mom started. I said get out. Both of you, now. The doctor nodded to the nurse, who gently but firmly escorted my protesting parents from the room. When the door closed behind them, the silence felt like a physical weight. The doctor sat down beside my bed. I have to ask you some difficult questions, Miss Porter, and I need you to answer honestly. Is there anyone in your life who might want to harm you? Anyone who would benefit from you being incapacitated? I thought about Vanessa, about the inheritance from our grandmother that was split between us, about the life insurance policy my parents had taken out on me years ago, back when I was first diagnosed, about my apartment in the city that Vanessa had commented on multiple times, saying how unfair it was that I had everything, while she had nothing. I thought about all the times over the past 2 months that I'd felt tired, foggy, not quite myself. All the times I'd blamed it on stress, or work, or just the general exhaustion of having my high-maintenance sister as a house guest. I thought about the cups of tea Vanessa made me every night. The ones she insisted on preparing herself because she wanted to be helpful. Yes, I finally said, my voice hollow. I think there is. The doctor nodded, unsurprised. I've already contacted the police. They'll want to speak with you when you're feeling stronger. She paused. And Miss Porter, I'm so sorry. No one should have to go through something like this, especially not from family. Family. The word tasted bitter in my mouth. I had almost died, and the people who were supposed to love me most in this world were more concerned with protecting my would-be killer than with my survival. But Vanessa had made a critical mistake. She'd underestimated me. She thought I would die quietly, or that if I survived, I'd be too weak, too conditioned to forgive, to fight back. She was wrong. I reached for my phone on the bedside table, ignoring the way my hands trembled. I had calls to make, a lawyer to hire, and a sister to destroy. The first call I made was to my best friend Diana. She answered on the second ring, her voice thick with worry. Melissa, oh my God, are you okay? I've been calling for 3 days. Your mom said you were in the hospital, but wouldn't tell me anything else. I need you to do something for me, I said, keeping my voice low. Don't ask questions yet, just listen. Diana had been my roommate in college, and knew me better than anyone. She also happened to be a paralegal at one of the best law firms in the city. Anything, name it. I need you to go to my apartment before Vanessa gets back there. Take photos of everything in my bathroom. Every medication bottle, every vitamin, everything. Check the kitchen too. The tea containers, the coffee, anything she might have had access to. And Diana, don't let her know you were there. There was a pause. Melissa, what's going on? You're scaring me. Vanessa has been poisoning me. For months, the doctors found proof in my blood work. The silence on the other end stretched so long, I thought the call had dropped. I'm leaving right now, Diana finally said, her voice cold and hard. I'll document everything. And Melissa, I'm calling my boss. You're going to need a lawyer. After she hung up, I lay back against the pillows, exhausted but wired. My mind kept racing through the past 2 months, re-examining every interaction with Vanessa through this new horrifying lens. The way she'd insisted on doing all the grocery shopping, the herbal teas she'd bought specifically for me, The way she'd hover when I took my insulin, watching with those innocent doe eyes. Had she been taking notes, learning my routine, figuring out exactly how to hurt me without getting caught? A knock at my door interrupted my thoughts. I expected the doctor, or maybe a nurse, but instead, my father slipped inside. Alone. "Your mother's in the cafeteria," he said quietly, not meeting my eyes. "I wanted to talk to you privately." "About what?" "About how I should forgive Vanessa for trying to kill me." Dad flinched. He looked old, I realized. Older than his 58 years. His shoulders were hunched, his face gray, with exhaustion. "I know how this looks," he started. "Do you? Because it looks like my sister systematically poisoned me for 2 months, and you and Mom knew something was wrong, and did nothing." "We didn't know. I swear to you, Melissa, we had no idea she was capable of something like this, but you knew about the insulin switch before I woke up. The doctors must have told you what caused my collapse, and your first instinct was to protect her." Dad sank into the chair beside my bed, his head dropping into his hands. "She's my daughter too. Both of you are. I don't know how to handle this." "Here's a thought," I said bitterly. "You could try being on the side of the daughter who almost died instead of the one who almost killed her. It's not that simple." "It's exactly that simple." He looked up at me then, and I saw something in his eyes that made my blood run cold. Fear, not fear for me, fear of something else entirely. "Your mother thinks if we just handle this quietly, as a family, we can get Vanessa help. Therapy, rehabilitation, whatever she needs. If this goes public, if charges are filed." He trailed off. "If charges are filed, what?" "The family reputation suffers. Mom's country club friends find out her precious Vanessa is a psychopath." "Your grandmother's estate," Dad said quietly. "The inheritance." I went still. "What about it?" "The terms of the trust. If either of you is convicted of a felony, their share gets redistributed to the other beneficiary. Your grandmother was very specific about maintaining the family's good name. And there it was. The real reason my parents wanted this swept under the rug. If Vanessa went to prison, I would get her entire share of the inheritance. $3 million that would go to me instead of being split between us. But if I pressed charges, and Vanessa was convicted, my parents would have to watch one daughter become wealthy off the downfall of the other. "So this is about money," I said flatly. "It's about family. It's about not destroying each other over attempted murder." "Dad, she didn't just play a prank. She put antihistamines in my food for weeks. Medication she knew I was allergic to. She was making me sick slowly, and when that wasn't working fast enough, she tampered with my insulin. The doctors said I was hours away from dying." Dad's face crumpled. "I know. God, Melissa, I know. But she's sick, mentally ill. She needs help, not prison. She needs to be stopped, and if you won't help me do that, then you're just as guilty as she is." My phone buzzed. A text from Diana. "Got everything. Photos sent to your email. There's something you need to see. Calling you in 5. Dad must have seen something change in my expression, because he straightened up, suddenly alert. "What is it?" "Nothing that concerns you." I met his eyes steadily. "I think you should go now. And Dad, if you warn Vanessa about any of this, if you help her destroy evidence or leave town, I will make sure you go down with her. Don't test me." He opened his mouth to respond, but something in my face must have convinced him I was serious. He left without another word. When Diana called, her voice was shaking. "Melissa, I found something in her room, hidden under her mattress." "What is it?" "A notebook. It's like a diary, but it's all about you. Dates, times, dosages. She's been tracking everything. What she gave you, how you reacted, how to adjust the amounts." Diana's voice broke. "There are notes about your life insurance policy, screenshots of your bank accounts. She was planning something bigger, Melissa. The insulin wasn't the end game. I think she was building up to something worse." My hand tightened around the phone until my knuckles went white. "Did you photograph everything? Every single page?" "And Melissa, there's more. I found receipts from a pharmacy in another state. She's been buying the antihistamines under a fake name. This wasn't impulsive. She's been planning this for almost a year. A year, before she even moved in with me. The engagement that fell apart, the sudden need to stay with me. The tears about how her life was falling apart and she had nowhere else to go. All of it was calculated. All of it was part of a plan to get close enough to kill me." "Call your boss," I said, my voice deadly calm. "Tell him I need the best criminal attorney in the city. Money is no object. And Diana, thank you." What are you going to do? I stared at the ceiling, thinking about all the times I'd protected Vanessa, all the times I'd forgiven her, all the times I'd told myself that family was more important than justice. I'm going to make sure she never hurts anyone again. The next 72 hours moved fast. Diana's boss, a sharp attorney named Margaret Lawson, took my case personally. She arrived at the hospital the morning after Diana's discovery, her heels clicking with authority against the linoleum floor. I've reviewed everything, she said, spreading documents across my hospital bed. The photographs, the notebook, the pharmacy receipts. Your sister left a paper trail a mile long. She thought she was being careful, but she made mistakes. Arrogant ones. What kind of mistakes? Margaret smiled thinly. She used her real ID at one pharmacy, probably got lazy after so many successful purchases elsewhere. We traced it back to a store 40 miles from here. Security footage shows her buying the antihistamine 6 different times over 8 months. My stomach churned. 8 months. She'd been planning my death before her engagement even ended. Maybe the engagement ending was part of the plan too. A convenient excuse to move closer to her target. Me. The police want to interview you this afternoon. Margaret continued. I'll be present for everything. Based on what we have, they're prepared to arrest Vanessa today. Attempted murder, assault with a deadly weapon, poisoning. The charges will stick. I nodded, feeling strangely numb. What about my parents? Margaret's expression hardened. That depends on what they knew, and when they knew it. If there's evidence they helped cover this up after the fact, they could face obstruction charges. Your father's conversation with you about keeping things quiet was recorded on the hospital security system. Audio isn't great, but it's something. I hadn't known about the recording, but I wasn't surprised. Hospitals monitored everything these days. I don't want to destroy my parents, I said quietly, but I won't protect them if they choose Vanessa over justice. Understood. Let's focus on your sister first. The police interview lasted 2 hours. I told them everything. The years of Vanessa's behavior, the escalating incidents, the 2 months she lived with me. Detective Morrison, a tired-looking woman with sharp eyes, took notes without interrupting. When I finished, she set down her pen. Miss Porter, I've been doing this job for 20 years. Cases like this, with this level of premeditation, are rare. Your sister didn't just want to hurt you. She wanted to erase you and take everything you had. The notebook makes that clear. What happens now? We arrest her. Tonight, she's still at your apartment, apparently waiting for news about your condition. Detective Morrison paused. Your mother has been calling the station all day, trying to get information. She's claiming Vanessa has mental health issues and needs treatment, not incarceration. My mother will say anything to protect her. I figured as much. Don't worry. The evidence speaks for itself. That evening, Diana brought me my laptop. I watched the local news from my hospital bed, waiting. At 8:47 p.m., the breaking news banner flashed across the screen. Woman arrested in attempted murder of sister. Police say poisoning scheme lasted months. The footage showed Vanessa being led from my apartment building in handcuffs. She was crying, mascara running down her face, looking every bit the victim she always pretended to be. My parents stood nearby, my mother sobbing into my father's chest. They'd chosen their side, just like I knew they would. My phone rang. Unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. How could you do this to me? Vanessa's voice was hysterical, ragged. I'm your sister. Family is supposed to forgive each other. You tried to kill me, Vanessa. I didn't mean for it to go that far. You just wanted what? My money, my apartment, my life. Silence. The notebook told me everything. I continued coldly. You planned this for a year. You researched my medications. You calculated dosages. You even looked up my life insurance payout. So don't pretend this was some accident or cry for help. You knew exactly what you were doing. Mom and Dad will never forgive you for this, she hissed. You're destroying our family. No, Vanessa, you destroyed it. I'm just refusing to die for it. I hung up and blocked the number. 3 weeks later, I was discharged from the hospital. Diana helped me move into a new apartment across the city. My old place held too many memories, too much contamination. I needed a fresh start. Margaret called with updates every few days. Vanessa's lawyer tried for a plea deal, arguing mental instability. The prosecution refused. The evidence was too damning, the premeditation too clear. Trial was set for 4 months out. My parents reached out twice, both times through formal letters, both times begging me to drop the charges, both times I refused. The second letter mentioned that my grandmother's estate was being reviewed in light of potential felony charges. They were terrified of losing the money. I donated my share of the anticipated inheritance to a foundation for abuse survivors. Every penny. The look on my parents' faces when they found out was worth more than $3 million ever could be. The trial lasted 6 days. Vanessa took the stand in her own defense, crying and claiming she'd had a mental breakdown, that she never intended real harm, that she loved me, and just wanted attention. The jury didn't buy it. The notebook was too detailed. The pharmacy receipts too consistent. The timeline too calculated. Guilty on all counts. Attempted murder, assault, poisoning, criminal tampering with medication. 12 to 20 years. When the verdict was read, my mother collapsed. My father stared straight ahead, looking like a man watching his world crumble. Vanessa screamed that I'd regret this, that she'd make me pay when she got out. I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no grief, just a hollow sense of finality. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. I gave one statement. My sister tried to take my life. The justice system held her accountable. I hope her victims, including future ones she'll never have the chance to hurt, can find peace in that. 1 year later, I started a nonprofit for survivors of family violence. We provide legal resources, housing assistance, and counseling for people whose abusers share their blood. Diana serves on the board. Margaret handles our legal cases pro bono. We've helped over 200 people escape situations that nearly killed them. My parents never contacted me again. Last I heard, they moved to Florida, too ashamed to face their social circle. The family that prioritized appearances over my survival got exactly what they deserved: silence. Sometimes late at night, I think about the girl I used to be, the one who forgave endlessly, the one who believed family loyalty meant accepting abuse, the one who almost died because she couldn't imagine her own sister wanting her dead. That girl is gone now. In her place is someone stronger, someone who understands that love without safety isn't love at all, someone who will never again sacrifice her life on the altar of family obligation. Vanessa writes me letters from prison. I've never opened a single one. Some doors, once closed, should stay that way forever.